At the end of a corridor, a gullible man, rather than a believer, offered his dwelling. "This is your house, sir." Conde thought. Between the decaying Havana, infested with bats, and this decrepit Havana of rush buildings, there was only a matter of years, but no essence.
To me, more than being a writer, I'd have liked to be a good baseball player. I think that until I was 18, I spent more time playing baseball than doing anything else. I absolutely love baseball. Hello, I am Leonardo Padura, writer, and we are in Havana, Cuba. I have written and published 14 novels, but I've also written books of essays, newspaper articles, short stories, and film scripts. There have been times, as a writer, when I've said to myself, wow. Suddenly, someone comes up to you and says, "With your books, you have changed my life." They're very satisfying moments when you feel that you're a writer and that you're doing something you never thought you could do. But you've done it. You have succeeded. I grew up here, in this neighborhood called Mantilla, which is where I still live today. This house is very special to me. My great-grandfather, grandfather, father, me, we have lived here all our lives. And I was born in this house. Here at this table, I've written practically all my books. I am this house, and this house is me. Who is the best writer? Who is the best musician? Who is the best singer? It cannot be measured. I think that many artists feel that insecurity in what they're doing and what they've done, because this is a very mysterious profession. We are in the La Vibora neighborhood, and it's a very significant place for my literature. It was here that I decided I couldn't be a baseball player anymore, because I didn't have what it takes. And then I decided to become a sports writer, to study journalism. But the year I applied to study journalism, the school was shut down, so I ended up studying literature. I was studying at the university, and I noticed that there were several classmates who wrote. They wrote short stories, they wrote poems. I had never thought about writing myself. I had some sort of epiphany with regard to writing. I read a novel by Truman Capote called Breakfast at Tiffany's. And when I read that novel, I said, "This is beauty. This is getting to the essence of the person, and I want to do the same." My wife describes me as an unbearable obsessive. When I'm writing, I live in the world of which I write. In 1990, I wrote the first novel with the Mario Conde character. Mario Conde is a character that helps me to look at the world, to talk about the world, to reflect on reality, but from a personal point of view. I think the greatest moment is when one of your characters makes you laugh or makes you cry. And both have happened to me. And I think that's the moment when you enjoy literature the most, because you have the power to create something, and that this something can live regardless of you.
es el investigador del que les hablé, Teniente Conde.
¿Qué tal, Mario?
De mis libros,
Of my books, the first 4 Mario Conde novels were filmed by a Spanish production company. That series did very well and won awards. They are novels in which reality is very much seen from Mario Conde's point of view. And Mario Conde's perspective is the perspective of my generation, is my perspective.
mi generación es mi perspectiva. Hace muchos años que
I've been visiting this place for many years. This house, according to Hemingway, is in the perfect spot in Havana. The house was open to the public in the 1960s, but people would come and take a souvenir.
otro día,
And one day the house was empty. Many years later, when I started to write Adios Hemingway, I spoke with the museum director and she let me enter the house.
venir a entrar a la casa. La idea para escribir este libro
The idea to write this book mostly came from something that must be one of the most terrible things to happen to a writer, losing the ability to remember. A writer without his memory is nothing, and that was one of the factors that led him to commit suicide 2 or 3 years later.
2 o 3 años después. Ese último Hemingway.
That last Hemingway was the one I wanted to address in that novel. I set it there, and what I did was to put a corpse out there, a corpse that appears 40 years after being murdered.
40 años después de haber sido asesinado.
And then I built a storyline that revolves around Hemingway's bad relationship with the American FBI.
Con el FBI norteamericano. Ahora estamos en un pueblo.
We are now in a fishing village east of Havana, very close to the city. This village called Kojimar is known to the world over because Hemingway had his boat here.
Conocido porque Hemingway
And
tenía
this is where the story of his novel, The Old Man and the Sea, takes
El
place.
Viejo y el Mar. El mar es muy
The
misterioso.
sea is very mysterious. At what time is it good to fish or bad to fish? As he so loved the sea, he learned this from these fishermen. In my novel, Adios Hemingway, the final chapter, the last paragraph, takes place here, right here, when Conde and his friends look out to sea.
El mar. Y yo creo que
I think you finish a novel when you're so bored with it that you can no longer review it and make rewrites.
volver a revisarla y volver a escribir. La puerta se abrió.
The door opened, and the sweltering guest was greeted by the welcoming blast of air conditioning. Conde noticed a clean-shaven
Bien
face.
afeitado. Y las experiencias de la vida de uno,
One's life's experiences are somehow passed on through literature. The way I make and drink coffee. I have characters who make and drink coffee. The way I smoke a cigarette. I have characters who smoke the same.
tengo personajes que lo hacen.
And opaque leather sandals, the unmistakable work of Birkenstock.
De Birkenstock. Yo creo que
I think that rather than being a bestseller, suddenly selling lots of books, it's more satisfying to be a long seller. In Germany, in France, Spain, my books published 20 years ago continue to sell. And that is very satisfying. There is something important with success. If, as an artist, you yourself believe that you are successful, you run the risk of settling for what you have achieved.
de conformarte con lo que has conseguido.
I think that not believing you've succeeded keeps you trying to do better every time.
A intentar hacerlo mejor cada vez.